Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of The Boardroom. As always, we are chatting to some of Malta's business leaders, hearing how they've coped with the last few weeks and what their plans are for the months ahead. We are live, of course, on Facebook today, and we would love to include your questions and your comments in the interview. So if you would have anything you'd like to ask our interviewees, please go ahead and add them in the comments below. If you haven't managed to see this live, don't worry at all. You can watch it back on who'swho.mt, Malta's leading business portal. Now, today we're going to be touching upon a topic that lots of people really missed in lockdown, and that is the beauty industry. We know that our hairdressers and our beauty salons were some of the people that we missed the most when we weren't able to utilize their services. So I'm very happy to welcome some business leaders from that sector on the show today. We have Dean Gera, who's Managing Director of Dean Gera Salons. We have Dr. Joanna, Delia, owner and aesthetic physician at People&Skin. And we have Caruana, who's the owner and operator of Beaty Inc. Welcome on the show.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi.
Nice to see you all. Thanks so much for being with us. So, as I said there, I think you're probably fed up of hearing how much people missed you. I think we were all perhaps surprised to learn that among the most missed services, it was the beauty industry that many people couldn't wait to get back to. Sue, I'll come to you first. What was that like, realizing quite how missed your services were for people?
Well, the thing about our services, and one thing that I've always known, because of course we already went through one sort of like downturn financially in the financial world. So when people's spending power went down, is that stuff to do with the beauty industry, stuff that makes you look and feel good, is the last thing that goes. So you would rather sort of like spend some money on having your hair done than possibly buying that extra, I don't know, item to eat or whatever. You know, some people put their looks make them happy. So I wasn't surprised really that people were dying to get back, you know, especially because their nails were feeling so sensitive and that. So I kind of like expected the amount of calls and bookings that we got.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. And Dean, coming to you, did you have that experience as well when going back into the salon? I believe you had a waiting list when you went back in.
I mean, I was overwhelmed with the amount of clients that wanted. I wasn't expecting it, to be fair. At the end of the day, I mean, it's hair, but people felt the need to. I think people were fed up of staying at home, and they wanted that feel-good factor. They wanted to come back into the salon. I wasn't really expecting it, to be fair. But I mean, yes, we have a massive waiting list. I think we're booked up till the end of June. And obviously it's great for our industry.
Wonderful. And Joe, what about you? How's the experience been on your end getting back to work?
A lot of people told me, thank God for the mask. Ha 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 ha. It was covering all the things they had planned to do and never did. No, it was. I have to say, on last Monday, we bought a week's supply of something you inject, and by Tuesday night it was finished. So I think that explains it all.
Wonderful.
Seriously.
So good to hear that you are back in business with a bang. But Sue, I wanted to come to you. You haven't opened yet, am I right? You are going back into the salon on Friday, I believe. So what did you make of the reopening process? First of all, how were you hit when things closed down, and then what has been the process towards reopening for you?
Well, I closed down. My last day of work was the 12th of March. So I closed before the nail section closed, because obviously I'm so close to the face when I'm working that I didn't wait to actually be told to close. I closed a couple of days before. Obviously then sort of like into the run-up, I mean, I started preparing for reopening from the day we shut down, because obviously at some point or other a reopening is going to happen. So it was a lot of looking to other countries and what they were doing, listening to all the virologists and what the recommendations were and whatever. So before the protocols came out and were made public, I had already set up the majority of them. So we were ready. I mean, it was more a matter of waiting. because although I had ordered a lot of the stuff, there were a lot of delays in shipping and mailing and whatever. So it was more just waiting for, like, our new sterilizer arrived the afternoon before we opened, for the nail section. So it was like that. But on the micropigmentation side, I mean, I've been ready to go as well for a couple of weeks now, just waiting for the go ahead and to be legally allowed to do it.
Brilliant. And Joe, coming to you on that again, did you feel like you were given all the support that you needed to be able to get back into the clinic? And what was it like having to change so much of your operation?
Well, the truth is, with us doctors, most of what is recommended, we already do. In fact, like micropigmentation therapists and tattooists, because we already know how to do the sterile technique ourselves in our rooms. We only have one person, so it's not a matter of, we don't have to separate things. There's enough space to hold. And we put in some protocols, we changed some things in the reception area, because our fear is obviously that had there to be an infected person, an unknowingly infected person, we do not want to pass it on to us, although I truly believe that we have found out that this virus is quite mild on young, healthy people, but you wouldn't want to be a vehicle, obviously. So, of course, we're getting used to working with face shields and masks, which I seem to have gotten used to. It's fine. But otherwise, we just step up a little bit that level of sterility, which us doctors work with anyway, and we instructed our other members of staff. It was not that difficult. I mean, it was very exciting getting back to seeing some people, making them happy. I think I was so full of excitement. That's the only thing I remember.
Wonderful. And Dean, I know you obviously going back into the salons, you have a number of salons, so you have a large team that you had to get ready. So what was your, what stood out in your mind for the process of getting you back to work?
I think initially it was like trying to keep everyone motivated and keep their mindset that eventually we would get back into salon, on the salon floor and work with clients. We did a lot of restructuring as well. We took the time to restructure what we could improve. So straight away, we started doing some slight refurbishments on most of the salons. But mainly it was like keeping the team motivated. We tried to do an online business, so that we opened an online platform where we would sell products to try and keep, obviously, we needed to continue paying our employees. So we got help from the government, but that wasn't enough to cover all our salary costs. But we kept interaction. Like we had regular meetings with all management, kept the staff, the whole team in the loop to see exactly what's happening and what will happen when we reopen. And all the necessary training we needed, obviously, way before we were asked, we were given the permission to go ahead to open. All our team were completely trained and ready to go for when work started.
Brilliant. And Dean, I'll stay with you a little bit, because obviously, salons, hairdressing salons, a bit like beauty salons, are very social places. You come to the salon, you enjoy your chat with with the person who's doing your hair, you enjoy chatting to other people that are there, you have a drink. It's part of the experience. Obviously, a lot of that has changed now because of the measures. How do you find that both staff and clients are adapting to these changes?
The thing is, I think it's the new norm at the moment. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. So I think people are still being very cautious. The conversation is still going on with the stylist and the client. Obviously, everyone's spaced out, so there isn't that conversation going on with two clients at the same time. So it's strictly between client and stylist. But although, I mean, we're wearing masks, so it's very difficult to communicate, especially if hair dryers are going on, even to, I mean, I used to communicate a lot by looking at someone's face and seeing their mouth movements. Now it's very difficult for me to actually hear and go into a conversation. So I think on a conversation level, it has decreased quite a lot. But in reality, I mean, the salons are calmer. We took booking appointments. The way we structure our appointments are very different. So obviously we have more time for the clients, and we're not booking anyone in between any color services, which in reality, I think we like quite a lot. And the number of clients in the salon is limited as well. So we don't have that rush and that buzz that we used to have beforehand. And it does feel a bit weird not being able to offer beverages and pampering the clients the way we used to as well.
Of course. And Sue, with that in mind for you, how are you sort of getting past or expecting to get past that when you reopen? Because again, you're very well known for sort of the service that you offer and the social side of what you do.
Well, I mean, for me in particular, it's quite difficult because I'm such a chatterbox, you know. I mean, I don't stop talking. So even when the nail bars opened, obviously last Friday, and every time I walk past the nail bar and the girls and the clients, I mean, I'm constantly chatting all the time. And then I remember, oh, we're not supposed to talk, you know. But I mean, obviously, after you see, you know, when you have so many regular clients and you see them after a while, then you know it's you have to say hi, how are you, it's so nice to see you, and how are you, and blah blah blah. So conversation starts, but it's difficult to keep it to a minimum, and for me this was going to be the biggest struggle was or obstacle, let's say, that whilst like Dean is saying, it's nicer that you are working in a calmer environment. That I like a lot. It's calm, it's quiet, it's more organized. Sure. Everybody comes on time, everybody leaves on time, you know. You don't have people arriving late. It's all very streamlined, you know. So it's nice. But it's not that fun sort of appointment that it was before. It's not. We've lost that fun. You can't have a coffee. You can't offer them a coffee. You can't have sort of like conversation. We have a perspex. We have a mask. We have a shield. The client has the mask as well. You understand absolutely nothing. I mean, it's all kind of like sign language through the perspex, you know, in reality. So it's difficult. So I mean, in my room, when I start going and I'm one-on-one with the client, I can hear and talk a bit more. But I mean, doing micropigmentation, I never did talk really that much at that point. It's more with my nail clients that I talk, or say before or after, and that hug that you normally get afterwards. You know, when they're pleased with something, they get really emotional and they want to hug you, and that you can't do. So that's difficult, and it's a bit sad. So it's nice. I like working like that. It's calm and very organized and whatever, but it is sad as well. And another thing that I have to say is that in this time, I feel like physically I get so tired at the end of the day. It's like this huge, just being in the salon for the day, even if I'm not working, I feel like I've climbed the mountain. You know, by the time I get home, I have to go to bed and rest. Whereas I'm used to working a 60-hour week with no problems. But that's kind of like gone out the window at the moment.
Absolutely. I think that is a stamina thing that a lot of people are sort of feeling with the return to work, that we've all sort of changed a little bit in the way we do things. And Joe, I'll come to you now, because obviously you've always been very ahead of the curve. You've introduced many things to Malta, and I'd love to sort of hear a little bit about how you've been strategizing over the past few weeks, how life changed for you, and sort of what, you know, we've been hearing from some fantastic business leaders in the past few weeks about that period of time that we had to think. How did you use that time?
First of all, I must say the first month I was pretty sad because, as you know, I'm a big extrovert, and I really understood what that meant. So just as Sue said, I really felt the lack of people's energies. I was very excited because we've had some team additions in the beginning of the year, and we were all very excited to see everyone sort of gain more traction and, you know, increase their reputation, increase their portfolio, and that sort of slowed down a bit, which is fine. But I also had a project which is a secret, and it had been shelved for a number of years. I had just been dreaming about it and cooking it in my head. So I actually had the time to sit down, build a website, get the designers' juices going with all the nice marketing stuff. You know, we registered the trademark and the patent and got some
Wow,
like
fun.
some contract, you know, for manufacturers. It's something, and also because you know, as we all do, we do our work with our hands. So I always wanted to have something which I could do without me being physically present, and with my, even though I love that obviously. But so this time reminded me, oh, that thing, you know, and also it showed me how important it is to diversify business wise, as in I had already had an experience when I broke my hand about a year and a half ago, and I felt completely hopeless. And I love what I do, and it's also my, you know, my income, obviously. So this project came back, and it's super exciting. I mean, there's still a lot of international issues with sending samples and things like that. So it was slow on that side, but they have arrived, and I even everyone who left my house, I gave them a sample. Well, about 6 people came and left my house, just so you know. But it happened to be Mother's Day, so and they're like, oh, thank you, my mom's gift sorted, that kind of stuff. So I also had this kind of testing feedback going on, and I'm loving the feedback. Anyway, so maybe by the end of this year we can do something. And so that was really, really good in that
Yeah,
sense. Otherwise, I
absolutely.
read a lot. I read a lot on the roof, on my terrace, so I got a bit of a tan. And I loved enjoying time with my kids. That's what I did.
Of course. Of course. And Dean, similarly, I know that you guys, as you mentioned earlier, you pivoted very quickly to the online business to be able to keep some sort of money generation coming in. What else were you up to? Again, you know, how did you strategize? Did you have time to think about the future of the salon and how you want to develop the business?
Yes. So in the beginning, it came as a shock because we literally closed from one day to the next. We also closed, I think, on the 13th. I was out. I had stopped. I think my last day in the salon was on the 11th because Becky, my wife, was in Spain, and we decided to self-isolate because I felt like if I had to give it to one of my clients, that would be like a complete it would be. And so we decided to self-isolate from the 11th or the 12th. But then the salons, then we came up, all the managers spoke, and we felt that a lot of the employees felt that they weren't safe, and they preferred like if we closed salons. So we closed salons a little bit early, and straight away we thought about going online with products. At first we said it will like just get the ball rolling a little bit, but the first 2 weeks were insane. I think we sold more products in one day online than all 9 salons put together for like 3 days. So we were selling all over the island. Quickly we got a marketing company to put up a website for us, and slowly we started moving all the traffic onto the website, and that took about, I think, 3 to 4 weeks, which now we're going to keep that. That's an ongoing thing, and it's doing quite well as well. But again, we restructured the company completely, and we started seeing all the things that we could do better, the service, the way we wanted to treat our clients, and we had a lot of things in the pipeline that we never had time to do before, and we started working on that, and hopefully this year we'll be able to launch two new projects within the company.
Excellent. And Sue, coming to you a little bit on that as well. It'd be great to hear a little bit of what you were strategizing on during this period. But also, I'm keen to hear from you whether you feel that beauty can be profitable at the moment, given the measures that are in place, obviously having to space things out amongst clients, not being able to work as quickly as you did before. As business owners, do you feel like you are going to have to, maybe look at a lower bottom line for the foreseeable future, or possibly even having to downsize?
Well, definitely the bottom line is affected greatly because a couple of things happened with us. First of all, we had some girls that during this period of time decided, sort of like our part-timers, decided that they didn't want to work so much. So there was a, let's say, a realization between amongst people that, you know, this work all day and, you know, go home exhausted at the end of the day wasn't for them anymore, sort of the work full-time and a part-time job. So we lost some of the team, a few girls who decided. And so that was one thing that we were down from. Also then, because of the spacing in between, although I have 6 desks, I can only work a maximum of 3 people. So normally my 6 desks are working all day, every day. Now we have 3 desks working. So yeah, the bottom line is affected a lot. Plus, not only is it just the 3 desks working, but if normally, say, doing a set of nails took an hour and a quarter, now it's taking an hour and a half to an hour and 45 because of the cleaning process. And that's not to say that we didn't clean before, because we did, but we didn't clean. This is like a deep clean that you have to do in between every client, you know. So the perspex has to get cleaned, the back, the front of the desk, the seats. If they've gone into the toilet, you have to go and clean the toilet behind after them as well. And then the sterilization of the tools. Whereas before we only used to wash and sanitize, now we wash, sanitize, and sterilize. So that takes a little bit longer. So, you know, bottom line is affected a lot. I mean, it's just sort of like about a break even point. But as well, then you have to see from the other point of view that people have less spending power now. You know, a lot of people have been out of work. There are a lot of people who have lost their jobs. A lot of rental properties are going to be empty. So that income is less for property owners. So I think in general, everything is going to go down for a multitude of reasons, not only the protocols, but it's also the spending power, you know. And I think it's going to take a while to get back. It is going to take us a while. But I've also learned in this time sort of like to spend less so you can do with less, you know. You cut down. I mean, everybody has to cut down according to how much they have to spend, right? So it's doable, you know. I mean, you work it out. You have to work it out, otherwise you have to shut down.
That's it. So it's this sort of give and take on both sides of the business, both the income and the outgoing. I understand. Joe, has that been sort of true for you? Are you seeing that you will be looking at sort of maybe lower profits this year because of the measures?
Well, I think my biggest worry is that I wonder, is that maybe we might have new clients interested, because when people trust us and know us, and we had obviously a big backlog from the past 9 weeks, pretty much, except for people we are calling vulnerable, and according to again, I don't know exactly what's been released or not, but people over 65, over 70, people with things like MS, diabetes, asthma, chronic bronchitis, we're not seeing. But in reality, they're a very small amount of people, and we obviously don't see them for their own protection. There are some, since we're in Slim, I think perhaps more than other places, we do have a lot of expat clients, and there's a lot of them stuck in their home country, in the original country, because they chose to spend the lockdown, quarantine, whatever measure there was over there. But otherwise, I think so far the recurrent clients seems to be they will come back. But I think there will be, for the reasons Sue mentioned, less spending powers, people with loss of jobs, also fear. I mean, if you've never been to us, you might still be afraid in general, but also afraid to try something new, both because you're uncertain of your budget for the near future, and also because you just, the unknowns. So I'm sure it will affect to some extent. I wonder how long. I mean, the country will, I think in the tourism and entertainment industry, there will be a big delay in order for things to get back to normal. And obviously, a lot of us do make a direct or indirect income from those industries, and so I think there will definitely be a percentage decrease, but it's okay. I mean, just also as Stu said, it is in a way you do enjoy the regularity, the calm. Not even my receptionists have been telling me, this is amazing. You know, we don't have any crazy moments. Let's change this. And we are spending less. We are traveling less. We are eating out less for now. So it is a new way of balance. So for now, we have to see it as a balance. You can't compare to what your turnover or profit on previous years. As long as we are healthy and comfortable, a little bit of a dip is very acceptable.
Absolutely. And Dean, looking ahead to the future, maybe we jump ahead sort of a couple of years when things perhaps have gone back to normal. Do you think there will be any trends from this period?
So I lost you in the last bit. Any trends
No problem. Yes. Will there be any trends that the beauty industry takes? Do you think that consumers have changed what their demand as a result of this period? Do you think we will see a different looking beauty industry going forward influenced by COVID?
I think in general, I think most industries will change. So we'll see a new norm. I think the biggest thing that we need to understand is before people were weren't as flexible, and people, let's say in our industry, used to come to us mostly on the weekend. Where now, I think with the way we're booking, and I think we're going to keep it on board because we like the way not the spacing out, because obviously we're losing a lot of revenue because we can see far less people. But the way we're booking makes a little bit more sense, and what we're going to see is that clients will have to book in advance, and we'll be using the full week instead of 50% of our clients just coming in on the weekend. We're going to be seeing our Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays just as busy as those 2 days during the week. So I think people will learn to take a day off to come and get their hair done, their nails done, instead of just waiting for the weekend to get them done. And we'll have an influx of clients coming in just on the weekends, and then having a much slower midweek to the beginning of the week. So I think, yes, people will start using our services a little bit differently, because obviously it's going to be impossible to keep up, to manage to fit the amount of clients we used to do in those 2 days. So people won't have the option other than to start booking during the week.
Absolutely. And so as we start to sort of wrap up the conversation, it'd be great to have some advice from you, and I'll come to each of you in turn for your advice perhaps to other businesses in the sector. Obviously, you are business leaders in the sphere, and I know that some other salons, perhaps smaller operations, are wondering what to do, how to move forward. What would be the most important thing that you think we can take from the last few weeks?
I think that the most important lesson is not to take any decisions out of fear or panic, and to learn to breathe and to calm down, and just allow things to sort of take their course, not to overdo it, to always use logic and to think about things in a logical way, and implementing systems that will work for now and the future. So taking it as an opportunity instead of looking at it from a negative aspect. And basically that's it. I think we tend to, I know I myself in the past, I've been in business now over 20 years, and whenever I've taken a decision through panic or fear or rushing, it's always the wrong decision. And so at the moment, there was a lot of fear and panic and worry, that your business isn't going to make it or whatever. So just to breathe, calm down, this is going to pass eventually. You just learn how to control your costs, give a good service to the client, gain loyalty back. Before there was much less client loyalty. So people would change from one provider to another provider very easily. Whereas now I think it's time that we can gain back client loyalty, and if they're happy coming and they feel safe with you, then they're going to carry on coming. And just to use your head instead of your heart, just take it easy, calm down. The break has been good. I mean, I know that this is the first since I was 17. I turned 50 this week. Since the age of 17, I never took a week off. Never. I've never been off for more than a week. So this for me was like, oh my God, wow, and I actually enjoyed it. I mean, financially it's been disastrous, but I mean, I don't care. I don't care. From the other aspect, it's been great. It's been a great break.
I understand, and we are hearing that from a lot of business people, the sort of realization that maybe you don't need to be on the go 24/7, that it's okay to put some sort of, regulations in place for yourself, to give yourself some space to think. Because at the end of the day, that's what a business leader needs to do. They need to lead, and they can't if they're so busy and so tired all the time. Thank you for that insight. Sue, Joe, coming to you, what would be your major thoughts?
I think the thing which worried me most in the beginning was, in fact, keeping my stuff, because I love them so much. And we came up with a plan. We also took time to brainstorm, and so I think I've heard, obviously there are plenty of business who had to let go of a percentage or even all of their stuff. I mean, but if the company couldn't survive, then that's one thing. But I think you need to now think of ways to make yourself even more valuable, and to diversify their portfolio of whatever they do, and also not just the direct skills they have, but also peripheral skills and side skills, so that if you have a period where for some reason or other, it could be anything, and like I said, an economic downturn, something as surprising as this, you can still not only utilize them but gain. And obviously it's always a two-way thing. And as I said before, I really enjoyed having the time to work on that shelf dream of mine, and sometimes we need to stop and think, because we all, I'm sure, have so many ideas which we couldn't ever materialize or work on, and they need a lot of time. So sometimes it's also good. I love the idea of sabbaticals, for example. I love them. I love the idea of taking some proper time off and reevaluating, and also coming up with new things. I had once watched some TED Talks about sabbaticals, and then I took some myself, and it was insane, incredible. The creativity that they come with after a period of letting loose, letting go, is phenomenal. So I think businesses should really think about staff getting an even stronger bond, a stronger relationship, and time to develop new things, because you can't just keep on turning on the same wheel forever.
Thank you. Great insight, Joe. And finally, Dean, what would be your thoughts?
Well, I mean, apart from the financial problems that we had within the last 2 months, I loved being out of work, not going into the salons, and just enjoying my kids. I was literally working from home, so the first I think 6 weeks I barely left the house. Luckily, we had the grocer bin downstairs, so they were delivering, and we did everything online. And I loved being around them. And I just think we need to take the positives out of it. Luckily, our business, I have my sister and my brother who are a massive help. So my sister actually took care of the operations on the online thing. So I was dealing more with the financial burdens and trying to get help financially to keep all our team on board, which luckily we managed. But there were a lot of positives, I feel, with this break, and it gave us time to sit down, think about all the important things that's going on in our lives. Again, like family, work-life balance. It's not just about work. We need to sit down and and breathe, as Sue said, and enjoy the non-materialistic things that we have. And again, it's all about the work-life balance, and that's the approach I think we're going to take as a company. And I don't want our team to be stressed at work and to overwork and hit crazy numbers just I mean, there are things that, as Sue said as well, we're going to be doing some cost cuttings where we see we're spending money that we didn't really need to. We will most probably downsize a little bit, so close a few of the smaller salons and make use of the space that we had that we weren't using. We're just using it as an academy, and now we'll actually most probably be opening it as a full-blown salon. But I think, I mean, you need to take the positives out of it and just work with it and take it day by day. Have a good plan for the coming years and just take it on. And as long as that your work environment is good, you have a nice team that are motivated and dedicated, then I think everything will be fine.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for your fantastic insight there. I'm very happy to see all three of you back doing what you do so well. And thank you for all the great advice that you've shared with us today. Thank you also to those of you watching us at home or at the office. Great to be with you again. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Boardroom.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.